Sorry, guys. We're just going to carry on. Something went wrong there. It went off, so we're just going to pick it up here with the fall of the Bastille. You can see it was quite hectic fighting. There's a Bastille sort of in the background there. It was a big fortress, and the people of Paris literally burnt it to the ground, and then they destroyed it completely. It's not there anymore today. Today it's a square. In Paris. You can go and visit. It's called the Place de Concorde, and there's nothing there. And it is a memorial to the fallen of that specific day, 14th of July, 1789. It's called Bastille Day in France. It's still a public holiday today, and it is now seen as the start of the French Revolution. But you can see it's quite some hectic fighting. There's the National Assembly. There's the tennis court that I referred to. You can see it's not quite our tennis court, where the actual court would be at the bottom. But there's all the people that were now part of the National Assembly. And they were busy drawing up a new constitution. And it takes time to draw up a new constitution. It's not something that you do in a day. It takes months, sometimes years. There is the man himself, Louis XVI. He was the king of France. He was the guy that did not want any change. We have discussed him. He was not a very good king. There's his wife, Marie Antoinette. Also remember that these two, of course, these are artists that painted them. So whether this is actually how they looked, we don't know. We assume it was close. But of course, if you're going to draw or paint the king, then you're going to make him look much better than what he actually looked. The same with the queen. So, but there they are, the two main players during the revolution. The main events of the revolution, 1789 to 91. This was a period of reform. The National Assembly introduced many constructive and lasting reforms. They ended the special privileges of the nobles, established a constitutional monarchy. King remained the head of the state, but laws are made by Parliament. So, and that's sort of the way that the British work today, isn't it? Where you have the Queen, who's still the head of state, but the laws are made by the Parliament. She can't overrule a law in England. All men over 25 that pay taxes were allowed to vote. No women were allowed to vote yet. That will only come much later. Nationalized the property of the church and ended the privileges of the clergy. This was important. And the judges will be elected, and there will be a trial by jury. Torture were outlawed for the moment. And then, of course, they drew up what is perhaps the most important document, historical document that influences our lives today. And that was called the Declaration of the Rights of Man. And it's quite a long document. This is really just an extract. It's pages and pages. But these are the rights that we have today. And it's because of the people in France and the French Revolution that we have these rights today. The first one there, men are born and remain free and equal in their rights. You are born free, you have equal rights, you have the rights, unless you do something to lose those rights. So if you're going to go and steal a car, then you're going to lose some of those rights. You're going to be locked up. But you're born with those rights. These rights are those of liberty and property, security and resistance to oppression. So everybody is free, everybody may own property, everybody may be secure, and you may resist oppression. The power to rule comes from the whole nation. People vote. Liberty is being able to do anything that does not harm others. So freedom does not mean that you can go around shooting people or driving over them with your car. If you do anything that harm others, that is not part of that freedom. And you're only allowed to prohibit actions that is harmful to society. And the law should be the same for everybody. No man may be accused, arrested, or detained except in cases determined by law. Every man is innocent until declared guilty. No one must be troubled on account of his opinions, even religious beliefs, provided that their expressions does not disturb the public order under the law. Same thing applies. You can believe whatever it is you want to believe. You can follow whatever religion is you want to follow, as long as you do not break the laws of the land. Free expression of thought and opinions is one of the most precious rights of man. Every citizen may speak, write, and publish freely. That was obviously at the time. Today there is some holds certain things that you may not say, and so on. General taxation is necessary for the upkeep of the public force, and it should be borne equally by all citizens in proportion to their means. Remember now that previously it was the nobles and the clergy that had paid no taxes, even though they had the biggest income. But now that turned around. It's the same as what it is today. You pay taxes equally in proportion to your means. So the richer you are, the more taxes you are going to pay. And then, of course, the right to property is sacred. You may own property and nobody can take it away from you if you own it. Not still paying it off. The bank can still take it away if you pay it off. While all this was happening, the conditions of ordinary people of Paris were getting worse all the time. They were angry because they believed the king was resisting the changes. A large group of working class women marched to Versailles from Paris. They were angry at the king's wife, Marie Antoinette, specifically because she had a lavish lifestyle and she was insensitive to the plight of the poor. And they were not happy with that at all. And they forced the king and his family to move to Paris. The king, a little bit later on, tried to flee France with his family. This is very sort of brief history now. They were caught and brought back to Paris. The king became a prisoner and he was forced to accept the constitution under duress. Many of the French people started to call him a traitor. They wanted the end of the monarchy and called for a republic. Righto, there we go. Activity 1 and 2, page 67 and 68, 76 and 78. You need to do those two, please, if you haven't done it yet.